Right, buddy, welcome back to your latest Manchester United news. We'll be talking Carlos Baleba being potentially linked with Manchester United and Manchester United going through the personal terms and all of that story. We've got an update on Martinez's suspension. We'll talk about Morgan Rogers and a new plan for Manchester United there. We'll talk about Rafael Leao as well as some other interesting things, Van der Ven, Rashford and more. So the first thing I want to start off by talking about the Carlos Baleba stuff. So this is what's come out today. Carlos Baleba was a top target for Manchester United last summer under the manager Ruben Amorim. He remained a strong name on United's shortlist. Manchester United had a verbal agreement with Baleba on personal terms in August 2025. The player was keen, but Brighton blocked the move in both the summer and January windows. United informed Baleba they may revisit the deal in the summer of 2026. That verbal agreement remained valid, and Baleba is still keen on the move to Manchester United. He continues to be a target for the club's scouting department. Although nothing has advanced yet, several factors will need to be resolved, including the appointment of a new permanent manager, the club's budget and Brighton's demands. So listen, we know Baleba is someone who's obviously high on the list with the likes of Anderson, Tchouaméni, Alex Scott and others, Tonali as well. And listen, personal terms are not a problem. United did a large amount of that work last summer. He wanted to go to United. It's a deal that they still want to get done this summer. There's no sort of denying that. I think if we're looking at Baleba, he definitely is a top talented player. I think this season hasn't been great for him for numerous of reasons, whether that's him not playing many games or the pressure of that United move. But we all know there's a player in there. And listen, there's positives of signing him. I think he's someone who would work very, very well in this United team. He's got a lot of good assets. He's an engine. He's someone who, as I said, scores goals, creates chances, and does have a lot of good experience. However, you look at him, he is still relatively inexperienced. I think if you look at some other players at his age, they're much more developed and better players than he is. It's a big risk signing him for a lot of money, which ultimately United are probably going to do. The price is not going to be cheap. It's probably going to be 70, 80 million. And Brighton are going to demand that after what they got for Caicedo. And listen, his performances haven't been great, but he's someone that United still heavily want. And I think that's being pushed by Wilcox and Barada, and that it's clear that this is not a manager thing. Now, whether Carrick has his input on it, they're still waiting to be seen about that, but he's definitely someone United have an interest in. And I think out of all the midfielders, your Andersons, your Tonalis, your Tchouaménis, I think he's someone who wants to join United, and United have done a lot of the legwork, so that deal is more advanced than others. I think the main concern for me would be, again, his inexperience and the issues there, but it's a deal United definitely want to do. There's talks continuing to going on there. I think he's a player who does have a lot of good talent and potential, but there are still a lot of warning signs there that United definitely need to look at. So yeah, in terms of Baleba, personal terms are still valid. United obviously did a lot of the legwork last summer. They wanted to get the deal done, but it's looking like this season United are going to go back in the race. Listen, I'll be happy if United bring in three midfielders. If Baleba's one of them, I think there is a good player there, but you all know who my priorities are: Anderson and Tchouaméni as the two midfielders in the region of 70 million. Now, Ben Jacobs has said that Manchester United are a genuine suitor for Morgan Rogers, along with Arsenal, Chelsea and PSG. The player is open to a move abroad and admires Luis Enrique. Bayern and Liverpool are not active currently in the race to sign him. Now, what I would say about Morgan Rogers is, again, we know his quality. He's very, very good on the ball. He's a number 10. Again, if Bruno Fernandes is to leave, which probably won't be this summer, he would be my number one replacement. I think he's got everything that you want. Defensive work rate, can get goals, can get an assist, played in the Premier League, still young. If Carrick is to be the permanent manager, I think that could potentially have something in it. They had a very good relationship from their time at Middlesbrough. I think if we're looking at Morgan Rogers as a modern day footballer, someone who, as I said, it's going to be a tough shoes to fill when Bruno leaves, but he's someone who I think can do an adequate job and he can put in a lot of good performances. There are obviously risks there, but in terms of 23, the age profile certainly there. In terms of suitability to the Premier League, that's there. In terms of flexibility, he can play in a various amount of positions. Left 10. Or left wing, right wing, centrally. So he's someone who does have that sort of option there. And again, as I said, ball carrying, he's someone that United need. I think, if you have to replace Bruno. Now again, he's going to cost a lot of money. He's got a few years left on his deal. He signed a new deal last summer, but he's someone who definitely does have a lot of unique qualities, and I certainly look at bringing him into that team as the number 10 profile. But again, I don't think that'd be this summer. I think he will probably leave this summer. Villa, and I don't think he will go to United. I think a PSG or another club like that. I mean, you could very well see him playing abroad. He's that level of a player, but yeah, I don't think United will go from this summer, as we still have too many priorities to deal with first. Now, Rashford. Barcelona considering Rashford's departure after his loan spell, which has seen him contribute 25 goals in 44 games. However, his playing time has been limited. Barca prioritise a new central midfielder, and Rashford could potentially not. His deal cannot be sort of extended. So this is what Andy Mitten said on Rashford. He said, "This is more of a tangible, not a negotiation tactic. This has been the worst month as a Barcelona player when it's needed to be the best month. I speak to people around the club for a long time, and I sense a calling in their appreciation for Marcus Rashford." So, I mean, we very well could see him back. I don't think he has a future at United, though. I think if he is to come back to United, United will look at selling him immediately. That door's been closed, I think. Whether Carrick is the permanent manager and he looks to integrate him, I mean, that's something that United have to look at. It all really depends on who the manager is next season, whether they want Rashford, whether they don't. And if that's Carrick, I can very well see him being integrated back into the team. Now, one of the things that Van de Ven was talked about, if he could potentially play a left back, one of the aspects that United are looking at is left back, a supplement to Luke Shaw, and if Dorgu is used as a winger, there's a few moving parts. I guess Van de Ven could be used there. I've been told that a left footer would be ideal. I mean, if you're looking at Van de Ven for a left back, why don't you just go out and get a natural left back who can actually play there? I don't get why you would do that. There's more than enough options on the market. I can name you 5 now: Lewis Hall, Nuno Mendes, Lewis Skelly, DeMarco, if you really want to go that far, Nathaniel Brown. There's a lot, Adrian Truffet. There's so many left backs that United can get. Why would you bring in Van de Ven, who's a centre back, to play left back? It just don't make any sense to me. So, if United are to bring in a left back, it should be a natural left back. It shouldn't be Van de Ven. I think Van de Ven, his injuries are concerned, but he is someone who's talented, 24, Prem experience, willing to improve, pacey, and I think he's someone who would add a lot to this team in terms of centre-back profile. But again, it depends on whether Manchester United actually go and get a centre-back this summer. Now, a winger, I've talked about him a lot. AC Milan has received concrete inquiries for Leao, with Man United showing strong interest. His future isn't certain as Milan considers renewal with Premier League clubs, United and the list, Liverpool and Real Madrid are monitoring him at 60 to 70 million euro fee. I mean, Leao's someone who, there'll be periods in a season where he's very, very good and he's getting all the plaudits, but then there's many times where he's not mentioned. I think if you're looking at, as I said, I've just talked about Rashford there, the left wing situation. I think United are more going to prioritise a left back over a left winger. Now, who that left back is, we don't know at the moment. But I think winger-wise, I think you're going to have Cunha and Dorgu there last season. Next season, I still don't think that's enough. But I think they're players that are going to be used there. Leao is a good option. He's got European experience. I do worry about adapting to the league. But again, if you're looking at sort of 60 to 70 million, would you say Rashford's better than Leao? I probably certainly think he is. And then that raises the question, why you already have a player at the club in Rashford who's played for the club before, gets what it's like. Why would you not just keep him instead of Leao? And then you have the other side of that argument as well. So Leao is definitely an interesting player. He is attracting interest. There's a 60 to 70 million euro fee. We will have to wait and see what happens. Now, the last thing I want to mention is Martinez and his sort of ban. So the ban was appealed. It did not get accepted. He still is out for 3 games, which again is a concern, but hopefully Maguire's in for the next game. So yeah, that's been your latest news. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.